Welcome to Mystic Brew. Where am I? Oh, there I am. So this Mystic Brew is about a video I'm going to be putting up probably tomorrow. It's not a long one. It's a Cosmic Emporium, and it runs about 40 minutes. I think it's 39 minutes, but because of editing and reprocessing, it went from its original size of about 355 megabytes to 1.27 or something. On my slow internet, that's about 5 hours of nursing an upload, because if I don't nurse it or somehow make sure my computer stays on, I go offline. But I want to talk a little bit about it because it's a totcast, because it's a forum member, and it's a member of the One Truth Forum. He goes by the name of Donk, D-O-N-K, and he's known around the internet as Phil B. And so, you know, he went to Standing Rock. Standing Rock was a pivotal moment of consciousness, I feel, for sovereign people. He got an idea about community, what it takes to make things work, the team, and how without it, a real team that's organized, everything would fall apart very quickly. Yeah, you have people who are not on the team, but you have, and that is allowable, but you have to have that team. So he knows that. So he was a good person for me to talk to, and I guess a little bit about myself and Bill Ryan. I mentioned that I was at Project Avalon. I think I was there for maybe 3 years. I believe I left fairly early on in 2013, because I remember we had just kind of gone through, the December 21st, 2012 thing. And so anyway, I left there for reasons that are unimportant. And I, back then, before I kind of found my gnosis and my wisdom, which meant I found my compassion and my sweetness, I could use, I consider myself a competent speaker, be able to think on my feet, come up with analogies, metaphors in real time, vocabulary that, is not too basic. And, but when I write, when I can pause for a minute or two in the middle of a sentence to complete it, my writing takes on another dimension. I was chosen to be in a creative writing class for an essay I wrote in high school. Just stuff like that. Writing is in my blood. And I had written a goodbye letter that was just full of the absolute acidic wit, sometimes very subtle sarcasm. I had a real, it was this kind of a subtle writing skill. And suffice it to say, if I, the me that is me, would go back then and be at that keyboard, and I felt the need to say goodbye, which I probably would have, I would have said goodbye. I inserted my own drama into it, and anyway, so that is how I left. And if Bill doesn't have a good opinion of me, I can't fault him for that, because of the politics and the personal crap, which is exactly what I'm trying to do with what I did when I did my first Dark Journalist with Bill Ryan. And I'm pointing out about Bill Ryan's ground crews, the concept of ground crew, and that also he's kind of raising this consciousness about our community. And as you'll see in the video when it gets up tomorrow or something, there are certain people who still want accountability at some level for different things. And I guess I really feel that with all the history, some of us know each other for years already, and we know each other. Some of us know each other long enough to have little animosities. And for me, for the good of the community, for the good of ourselves, for the good of walking our talk, setting an example, the whole idea of maybe, how about a new topic has come and it's about our community and getting it cleaned up. So to me, the best way to clean it up is we all start clean, tabula rasa. And then as we move forward from with an absolutely spotless beginning, the kind of like anything that we could, then we might want to talk about is about things that we have done from this kind of place where we all had our integrity reinstated. Okay, well, you are recognized. Now let's go forward, and then from there are fruits that I think we can talk about. And I don't think we need to talk. To me, the whole thing is, so what do you want to see? I want to see cooperation and good fruits. I want to see organization. I want to when the intelligence or the deep state monitors the forums and they're reading, I want the fear of sovereignty to see in there, or the absolute delight, because some of them are actually Americans and they see a completely disjointed, disorganized, distracted America, and they have a family to feed. If suddenly, as they're monitoring things, they realize, oh my God, they're getting organized. Oh my God, they realize the political parties are a complete scam. Oh my God, they're willing to drop their differences and their past grievances to go forward together. So like I said, for people who are monitoring, one group would be quite upset. Another group would be like, oh, now I can be the mole that I've always wanted to be, but I can't be a mole without support from the outside. And there's a whole lot of signaling that can go on amongst us. But it all starts when we start observing ourselves and realize that we're being observed. And when we start to, little by little, even if our own way we write or approach things, we realize that what gets seen by the people who monitor us is stuff that lets them know it's breaking down. Their veneer is breaking down because we're building up. They know the metrics. I mean, they know who they are minus plus who we are, and how the wall of their minions who are actually pulled from us, that can become a porous wall really quickly. But again, everybody's looking. I mean, we're group animals. Because I'm an Aspie, I don't read a lot of those signals. I read the macros. I don't read the kind of in-group signals so much. I look at the whole herd rather than each member of the herd. And so there's that whole kind of awareness of ourselves where I think when we start getting greater awareness, that there could be all kinds of messages sent. I did lose my train of thought a little bit when I ran off into that analogy. So I wrote some things here. Donk Phil represents another valid expression. And the reason is this because right now, part of what's coming up here is one person, when it comes to the Bill Ryan and Corey Good thing, which actually it's still being discussed. I think it's a discussion. I'm glad to see it hasn't become a hot topic. And I'll just very quickly quote somebody who I think was a respectful woman, especially during her time, which is Eleanor Roosevelt. And she said, "Small minds speak of people. Average minds speak of events. Great minds speak of ideas." So when we say small minds speak of people, we're talking mainly about gossip, and sometimes even violations of privacy. And violations of privacy are things that always make me feel uncomfortable. But Phil B represents another valid expression because I've also read comments underneath Dark Journalist, and people are going, "Hey, Bill, what about?" And as you'll see in my video, when these what abouts come, and I'm like, you know what? We're going this way. That's that way. I mean, seriously, I understand where people are coming from, and Phil certainly represents that. But I don't want to go. I'm done with that. And because I'm done with it doesn't mean you should be done with it. And that's why I will post this with Phil B. It's not, I don't get to decide what you think is valid. I get to decide what I think is valid. And then other people who share that, we become like, we become that stream. I mean, we're all moving in the same direction, and we all have our function. And we will find our function. And we will find our function best when we're not expected to do a function. Find your place. So what else do I have here? So it's a valid expression. Now regarding even with me, I'm quite sure I'm one of the last people Bill Ryan thought would suddenly be in a conversation. First of all, pointing to him as like, this is a good thing here. And so I kind of inserted myself a little bit, but I mean, I did it through a video. I mean, I'm allowed to opine, and I ended up getting into the conversation a bit, which I'm grateful for. And whether or not I did an Aspie thing, which is to think I read signals that weren't there and ran with that, or I did run with it. And either way, it's not, I will stand by my perception. That's all I can do. I mean, I perceive the world as I perceive, and I will speak on it as I see it, and as I want to see it too. There is again, by creating this tabula rasa concept, that means a clear table or an erased board. I'm realizing sometimes I'm using terms that Common Core schooling might not facilitate the understanding of. So I'm kind of almost inserting that also, but again, I create the reality you want to see. So again, here I am, a guy with under 1,000 subscribers, and speaking about stuff that matters to me. I'm speaking from my heart. That's how I stay in integrity. And so whether or not the way I inserted to this, I've heard no negativity. The only negativity I've gotten regarding my video is people who think I'm being too kind to Bill Ryan. I have definitely caught heat for that. And that's because I'm trying to create a truce. I'm trying to create a new start. And I'm trying, any of that is history. And that means we're looking backwards at stuff that I don't think really serves us. Why don't we just go forward? We're, try and find a coherence amongst ourselves so that we can agree that when we move forward, we're actually in the right direction. And people will, and we'll find out who we are. Everybody has a chance to be great here. And I mean, that's the potential. Especially with the tabula rasa, everybody has a chance to be who they're going to be, and get that talking stick, put out a good idea, and because you're either with it or not with it, and to not be with it just means you're going to do something else. We will create unity by not creating a group that is not part of the greater unity by saying you're not with, we have to be thinking more holistically. With a W. Okay, remember, when I say holistic, even in my mind, the word has a W, because I'm talking about wholeness. That other New Age holistic, it's telling you that it has a hole in it, just like a lot of the ideas in the New Age. I'm serious about that too. And again, I mean, some of what's about the past is foreign politics. I'm trying to get away from politics completely. Politics is what has divided this nation, and more people are realizing that from the get-go. Like, let's create a platform together that works for as many people as possible, and chances are the people who don't agree are going to be on the fringes, and I guess it's just tough to be wailing and gnashing of teeth, whatever. So this, I'm trying to get away from all politics, foreign politics, this kind of politics. Now, there will always be some politics, but the politics often are dynamic, and anytime we find dynamic starting to congeal into dogma, we should always know it's time to bust that, and let's get moving again. Okay, politics freezes things, and I have this thing here about negotiating the mazes of our collective psyche. and that's part of why about this kind of holistic and us each finding our own path, because there is a bit of a maze where it's a collective psyche, but by thinking in the whole and strategically and understanding how the parts move. I mean, the heart performs a really different function than the liver. I mean, you could say, well, liver. I mean, look what it's doing. It's not doing anything like us. Well, that's because the job's handled. We need another job handled. We got it. And my holistic, my cosmology for human interaction isn't based on the greater cosmology, although there's some coherence and normal fractalization, but we need a little more detail. I look at the human body. I mean, again, I'm a medical massage therapist, ate up physiology and anatomy, and understood the energetic implications while learning it. In the body is about homeostasis. When we look into nature, we're going to see things that look a little nasty, like wolves taking down animals or other predatory things. That that kind of environment does not exist in our body. Our antibodies going after pathogens, that's not hunting for food. Not that they might not break it down and consume it, but that's about hygiene of the organism. That's what an immune system does. And for me, when I think of community, even when I think of defense, I think of how the body works. That it's about homeostasis, and there is no politicking. There's shared resources. You have one blood supply. The heart doesn't pick favorites. Under certain stress things, like when adrenaline releases, and now that's a command for the body and and the circulatory system to close down supply to the brain, except for crucial motor functions, and then supply it, take it from the digestive system, and put it into the muscles. Okay, and that's what adrenaline does to us. Adrenaline reduces our cerebral capacity because the neurochemical message of adrenaline release is to reaction time, not thinking time. Blood to the muscles. Okay, so this is one of the reasons why there's so much fear in the mainstream narrative, because you can't process properly. Blood has been pulled from your brain. It's where a lot of the anxiety and processing all that tension in your muscles, that is a natural thing to happen with an adrenaline release. Somebody who I think gets totally overlooked in the alternative media and amongst those who can proudly wear the title conspiracy theorist. The king of conspiracy theory, according to them, is Alex Jones. Alex Jones is the king of conspiracy theory, according to them. You don't hear them mention the forum. You don't have Corey Good, David Wilcock. No. Those people are not serious. They're not breaking real news that is a threat to what actually is our threat. Alex Jones is breaking stories that are threatening to them. And yeah, it's delivered in this kind of caveman thing, but don't forget, Neanderthals had bigger brains than us. Alex is not is a very intelligent man. He's a soulful man. He's a crazy man. And because he delivers it day after day after day, Alex can be a lot to sit through. So sometimes that's why you go to InfoWars and get select pieces, find out, especially when he has a guest. A lot of it is just Alex talking to you. There's a lot. If you've never heard Alex, you might be able to take it. If you've listened to Alex for any number of weeks, there's a lot of his stuff that you don't need to listen to. But again, he is the one who's being targeted. He's being sued by a couple of people for very spurious reasons. I mean, Google eliminated all the ads he used to have. I mean, he sells these really incredible health products. Some of the better stuff on the market, seriously. And that's how he funds his operation. And the people go, oh, well, I go CIA, whatever. You know what? There's just an absolute human side to him that if he is working with any agencies, he's working with the humans within the agency. I mean, this isn't black or white, and it's not. And we can't point to any one agency and say all bad because it's a component. A lot of times the heads, the heads are often very, very compromised. I had another riff I was going to. I'm going to skip it. I'm at 20 minutes. I think I like this. I'll say the other one was definitely going to go deeper into the future, planning for the future. And I think I'll save that for another one. I just really want to kind of give a little bit of a heads up, and a heads up, a little bit of disclosure on my part about the fact that Bill and I know each other. Bill Ryan knows who I am, and I will tell you that his opinion might have mitigated a little bit. I can see why he would have caution about me. Trust me. I mean, I love people, including Bill Ryan, and so people. They are who they are. I mean, you don't know somebody for years without getting a little read on them. And of course, and I think that it's best that I'm just trying to do what's good for this community that we all built here. And I was a very popular poster on Project Avalon, and I think when I left, there was a sigh of relief because I was a handful for them. I was a real handful. So I think when I left, they were all glad, thank God, because they do remove people and they do ban people. But I was really popular. Now, please don't understand popular as everybody liked me. No, a lot of people. I was popular, okay? Not monolithically liked. And so to do something, to be as aggressive as to like just throw me off the forum had to be for, really press the button. And so when I left, I pressed the button and made it a lot easier for them. So again, I'm sharing a little bit of the history that I have with Bill Ryan. I'm contrite. Again, if I could, when I fall into the resonance of that person at that time, who had just come out of a marriage. There was a lot of stuff percolating inside of me that, and also there was other moments that really cleansed me. And so when I look back on that, it's like, oh my God, that was really unnecessary. And Bill, I would take that post off in a second now. Like again, if I could get back, if this was me at that keyboard, that would have never got up there. But that's it, and that's why this whole history thing, tabula rasa. Why even waste time talking about that? I know I just did it, but I'm trying to set an example of what I think is a waste of time. All right, so that'll be it. It'll be a Cosmic Emporium Totcast 11 with Phil B, and it will be representing some people who used to be at Project Avalon and want and or really feel that to move forward is if like we need to clear up some back stuff first. I disagree with that assessment, but that's for me. I mean, again, and so I consider this a valid thing because actually, the camp could be very equally divided, and it does. And this is not a democracy. This is, you got something to say, and you're saying it, and he's coming from his gut, man. He really is. So, well, you'll see that, and I think I should have it up sometime tomorrow when I can find 5 hours to upload. So thank you all for being with me, listening to Mystic Brew. Let's build a better world together, partially through strategy. Let's clean up our what's blocking us, things that try to find out what triggers us and how can we do something about it. And maybe I can make a video about that one day. And so just love all around. We had a nice thing in Global Mission of Peace was love for all, hatred for none. And that's important, hatred for none. And in this case, what we mean is hatred for no person. There can be things that people do that you might hate. There can be things in the world that you hate. But it is good, it is really good psychological hygiene to not hate people. Once again, there can be, what about a pedophile? You can hate what they did. And it doesn't mean again, containment. I mean, but again, these are nuanced differences. And I don't know why I went off on a thing. All I want to do is say I love you all. Stay sane. See you next time.